You sure Scaldy and Efi would play? You sure?
Yeah.
Pretty sure them guys would though. As you'd all expect, I'm a little bit nervous here today. But from what I'm told, public speaking is a lot like being on a nudist beach. It's only hard for the first 2 minutes. But seriously, there comes a time in everyone's life when you meet your one true love, their soulmate. Someone in your life that you realise you know and love for the rest of your lives. Well, for David, that happened to him about 18 years ago when he met me. And I do feel a bit under pressure to do a good job today because David has assured me that if I do a good job, I'll be best man at his next wedding. So. Page 2. But to be asked to be best man truly is an honour. But just from here, being here today and looking down at some of them tables down there, especially in the second last row, I realised that row it wasn't really that hard of a choice, really. Come on, look at the heads of some of the boys down there. It's like looking at an episode of A Big Fat Gypsy Wedding. Colin Murphy Campo, he's a prime example of that. But so it's good to know that I'm the best of a very, very bad bunch. But I must say how beautiful most of you all look tonight. I'm glad to see the majority of you have made an effort in here. Speaking of beautiful, I'm sure you'll all agree our bride Teresa is absolutely stunning today. Hear, hear. It's clear to see why David's so in love with her, but to be honest with you, her beauty tonight is only making Deborah look better than he actually is. And men, I'm sure you are all in agreement that today is a sad day for all single men as another beauty is taken away from us. And ladies, I'm sure you are all in agreement that today passed by without much of a ripple. I'd like to thank everyone who's travelled from all over the world to come here today. People from France, Spain, Canada, Cayman Islands, Dubai, UK, Australia, and even Mexico. It's amazing how far people come for a free meal. Also, I'd like to thank everyone who's travelled from all over the country, including all of the devs from Dublin as well. Big shout out to the uncles that went to the stag there. Ladies, if your handbags go missing, you know where to look. Speaking of... You're not safe at that table, Jim. Speaking of the stag though, as we all know, what happens on tour stays on tour, so I can't say too much. But a very brief synopsis would have involved a lot of drunk priests going around promoting gay marriage, a very drunk groom getting kicked out of half the pubs for not having enough clothes on, and a very, very drunk Jim this chap here going down Paddy O'Shea's pub with a rifle at the back singing to the old brigade. Kerry didn't know what hit it that day. Look out there, look out there. He's gone to get the gun, is he? As most of you may know, myself, Deb and Teresa used to live together and we got on really well. We made it work. Teresa did the majority of the cleaning. I took out the rubbish, did the hoovering, and David, well, he looked after Sky Plus. It's about all he was good at. He made sure Geordie Shore and the X Factor was on. But we enjoyed living together. But I do remember a couple of times that I'd wake up on a Sunday morning, all after a hard night in the beer or whatever, and I'd walk into the sitting room and I'd find Teresa in tears there. And I'd be like, oh Jesus, what did I say? Or it's her and Deborah after getting into a row. But then as I go to her, like, T, what's wrong? And I look over and she's bawling her eyes out at the X Factor. Over some sob story about some fella whose granny's dog died about 6 months ago. She's always very emotional. At least Louis loved it, so that was the main thing. Louis Walsh loved it, so it was fine. What else have I got here? Oh yeah, but it was also in that very same house that David, he told me for the first time that Teresa was going to be the girl he got married. And my first initial thought was, shit, I better find somewhere else to live soon. But in all fairness, I do think things have changed a lot since Devin's moved out. And living with Teresa now, he's got an awful lot handier in the house. He's got a lot better at DIY. Because he told me there yesterday when we were playing golf in Killeen that there'll be a lot of banging and screwing done over the next few weeks. So. Page 6 now, it's okay. Speaking of banging and screwing, I must compliment the bridesmaids and groomsmen today. It was all great. Geez, you wouldn't think to look at that. Only a couple of months ago, there was one of the bridesmaids visiting me in Toronto, where she managed to cop off with some fella and went back to his house. However, she didn't get very far at all now, because she managed to, and apologies for anyone who did the fries on time of your dinner, but she managed to puke all over him and his house before running out the door. Now, I'm not going to mention any names, but if anyone's looking for any DIY jobs, I hear Emma Brown's doing Nixon's. But seriously, it was obvious from day one that Dev and T were perfectly matched for each other. T, you couldn't have picked a more genuine, honest fella. Now that you're married, I suppose one of the main things is honesty, so I'd like no secrets between us. So I'd like to tell a story of when myself, Deborah, and our old Stanley over there, we went for a house party when we were about 18 in Curraha. We were visiting one of the lads that played in the choirs. We went down to the house party. We drove down in Stanner's mother's Lorraine's car, and we parked the car in the field across the way. So we went in and we started drinking. So as the drink started to flow, Seth, Dev, and Stan had the genius idea of taking the car out for a little rip around the field, pulling the occasional handbrake. That's just for safety measures, as you know. But Stanner somehow managed to pull a handbrake that went straight into the ditch, crashing the car, causing £3,000 worth of damage. Now, as you can all imagine, that's a lot of money and a lot of trouble for an 18-year-old to get into for crashing his mother's car. But poor old Stanley, you took the hit, didn't you, Stanley, and that was that, you know? Well, not a lot of people know that. It wasn't Stanley driving the car that day, was it? Stanley had to take that with him for the last 10 years and carry the burden, but I hope Lorraine and then start coming to the afters, I think. Anyways, now that they're married, I wanted to clear that up and have a clean slate, because I wouldn't like that on the conscience at all. Now, Dev has always been very hard working throughout the years, a lot like myself. He's always been hard in school, like myself. But he's always been very driven and knew what he wanted from an early age. Also like myself. 28, I still don't know what I want to do. But anyway, but it was this drive that got him to where he was and where he is in his accountancy career today. And he was always very good with maths and numbers and that. And as I've always said, there's three types of people in this world: those who can count and those who can't. If anyone didn't have that joke, I know which one you are. Throughout the years, myself and Dev have always been side by side, be it winning championships together or a knacker drinking on the green, which ultimately ended up in us losing championships together. We always got on like a house on fire, but that isn't to say that we haven't had the odd row here and there throughout the years. For example, there'd be times where we both want to play Batman and Robin together. I'd want to be Batman, he'd want to be Batman, and we both were he'd be like, Mac, no, you're too skinny and small to be Batman, and I'd be like, Deborah, you're too fat and ginger to be Batman. So we both start calling each other names and both go home crying to our mammies. But then the next day, David would email me from work apologising. I'm nearly there now, I'm nearly there. I remember back in the day when we were about 12 years old, and Deb was, after taking about 2 or 3 years of slagging to the first arrived to the village about being a blow-in from Dublin. And finally he said to me, "That's it, right man, that's it. I'm a meat man, I'm a meat man." Now, you can imagine, to get me as a meat man, to get a dub at the time, to turn and put on the meat jersey, was probably the proudest moment of my life. I was as proud as any man was, and any new father would have been of a newborn child. It's just incredible. Brilliant. He's still me man to this day. Sorry lads, sorry for taking them. There's enough of you out there anyway, lads. Every time, I don't know. What's that? As most of you know, I've been living in Canada for over 3 years now, and it's been hard. I miss my old buddy here more than I miss anybody else, or as much as everyone else. But since I've been away, I've managed to get myself a ginger girlfriend in Mackenzie. There she is over there. And a lot of people have been slagging me since then, saying that I've missed David so much that I go and have to bag myself a ginger to make up for the lack of David in my life. Now, to be honest with you, they're probably right, but in all fairness, the two of them have a lot in common. Like, they're both very clever. They both read a lot of books. They've actually both read a lot of the same books. For example, they both read Pubes. Shouldn't have given me this job then. David specifically asked me not to mention any of his previous girlfriends in this speech. So this has cut this speech all of 3 seconds. So it's no, in all seriousness, Dave, you have picked yourself a winner in Teresa. And you're so lucky to have someone so funny, kind, beautiful and honest. And Teresa, you were, as you know, so lucky to finally be joining the Devereux clan, who are as outgoing, funny, witty and genuine as they come. And you're not taking my second mammy off, you know. Linda's my second mammy and she's not yours. That's it. But in all seriousness, I wish you nothing but the best for the future. You're a fantastic, unique and perfectly matched couple. David, you know how much I love you, and on behalf of the entire wedding, I'd like to thank you both for sharing this wonderful occasion with us. And also a special thanks to all the parents. Without you, this would never have happened. So big parents. So I'd just like to conclude this speech with a quote from the great King Louis. Louis Walsh, that is. David, Teresa, you look like a real couple. You act like a real couple. You are a real couple. I love you, they love you, and it's a yes from me. And now I'd just like to invite Daniel and Shane up just to give flowers to the two